Leela was a 22-year-old woman who had grown up in Los Angeles. She had always dreamed of becoming an actress, but for now, she was working as a waitress at the diner to make ends meet. She had long, curly black hair, warm brown eyes, and a smile that could light up a room. Despite the challenges of her job, Leela had a positive attitude and always made sure to greet every customer with kindness. As she moved between tables, taking orders and delivering food, she noticed something unusual. A man walked in, and everyone in the diner seemed to stop what they were doing. He was tall, with silver hair and a rugged face that showed the signs of a life well lived. He was wearing a casual jacket, and his piercing blue eyes scanned the room. It didn't take long for Leela to recognize him. It was Clint Eastwood, the legendary actor and director. Leela's heart skipped a beat. She had always admired Clint Eastwood, not only for his incredible acting career, but also for the way he had influenced Hollywood with his films. But meeting him in person, that was a whole different story. Leela quickly composed herself and approached his table with a smile. "Good afternoon, sir. Welcome to our diner. Can I get you something to drink?" Clint looked up at her and gave a slight nod, his expression calm and reserved. "Just a coffee, please." "Sure, coming right up," Leela said, trying to sound as confident as possible, though she couldn't help feeling nervous inside. She hurried off to the counter to prepare his coffee, her mind racing with thoughts of how she could make this encounter memorable. As she brought the coffee back to Clint's table, she noticed that he was still deep in thought, his gaze distant. Leela set the coffee down in front of him and offered a polite smile. "Here you go, sir. If you need anything else, just let me know." Clint looked up at her and gave a small smile in return. "Thank you." She turned to walk away, but then she heard his voice again. "Miss?" Leela paused and turned back around, her heart beating a little faster. "Yes, sir?" Clint took a deep breath, his eyes meeting hers with a certain intensity. "You've been kind to me. I've noticed that about you. People in this world need more kindness, don't you think?" Leela was caught off guard by his words. She had always tried to be kind, but it was rare that someone recognized it. "I believe in kindness, yes," she replied, her voice soft. Clint gave a small nod, his eyes thoughtful. He then reached into his jacket pocket and pulled out a folded piece of paper. He handed it to her, his fingers brushing hers for just a moment. "I want you to have this," he said, his voice steady. "It's for you." Leela looked at the note in his hand, unsure of what to do. She had never expected anything like this, especially not from Clint Eastwood. But before she could say anything, Clint simply nodded at her and returned to his coffee. Confused yet intrigued, Leela took the note and walked away. She went to the back of the diner, where she could have a moment of privacy. Her fingers trembled slightly as she unfolded the paper. On it, in neat handwriting, was a short message. "You have a light in you, Leela. Don't let anyone dim it. Keep going, no matter how hard it gets. You have what it takes. See." Leela's eyes widened as she read the note. She felt a lump form in her throat. There, in front of her, was a message from one of the most famous and respected figures in Hollywood, someone who had seen the highs and lows of life and had built a career on perseverance. And he had taken the time to acknowledge her. She read the note again, and this time, her eyes began to water. The words spoke to her heart in a way that she had never expected. She had always struggled with self-doubt, wondering if she was good enough to make it in the world of acting. But Clint's words gave her a renewed sense of hope and determination. Leela wiped away a tear and smiled through her emotion. She could hardly believe that a simple note could have such a profound impact on her. It was as though Clint Eastwood had seen something in her that she hadn't even realized herself. For a moment, she stood there, holding the note close to her chest, feeling a sense of warmth and gratitude wash over her. She had always dreamed of making it big, but she had never imagined that a moment like this would come true. She folded the note carefully and tucked it into her pocket, determined to keep it as a reminder of what Clint had written. But as she returned to her shift, her mind kept returning to the message. She knew that she couldn't let this moment slip away. She couldn't let the kindness of a stranger, no matter how famous, go unnoticed. The rest of the afternoon passed by in a blur. Leela went through the motions of her job, but her thoughts were focused on the note Clint had given her. She began to believe that maybe, just maybe, she had a chance in the world of acting. Maybe she wasn't just another face in the crowd. Maybe she had something special, something that Clint Eastwood had seen in her. As the evening wore on, Clint finished his coffee and stood up to leave. Leela was waiting for him as he walked toward the door, still holding the note in her pocket. She hesitated for a moment, but then she made her decision. "Mr. Eastwood," Leela called out softly. Clint turned around, his expression curious. "I just want to thank you," she said, her voice trembling slightly. "Your words, they mean more to me than you could ever know. I've always dreamed of making it in acting, and well, you've given me something to hold on to. I promise I won't forget this moment." Clint smiled, his eyes softening. "You don't need to thank me, Leela. You've got everything it takes. Just don't give up. Keep going, and the world will see what I see." With that, Clint Eastwood gave her a nod and walked out of the diner, disappearing into the crowd of people outside. Leela stood there for a moment, her heart racing with emotion. She felt a sense of determination surge within her. She knew that the road ahead wouldn't be easy, but Clint's words had given her the courage to keep going, no matter how many obstacles she would face. She looked down at the note in her pocket one more time, and then she tucked it away for safekeeping. It would be her secret weapon, a reminder that even in the hardest of times, she had the strength to keep moving forward. And so, with a renewed sense of purpose, Leela continued to work at the diner, serving coffee and smiles to customers. But deep down, she knew that her dreams of becoming an actress were within reach. Thanks to Clint Eastwood, she had found the strength to believe in herself.